In this episode, we're talking all about search and engagement. You may already understand what they measure, but did you know that they're related to one another in some very important ways? Stick around while we dive into both so that you can be an expert when you engage in your search for great keywords in this episode of The Jam.
I'm Lisa. I'm Jade.
I'm Gordon.
I'm Richie, and this is The Jam with Team Marmalead. So what is Marmalead? Is it a set of tools? Is it a resource? Is it education? Yes. Yes, it is. It's all of those. Marmalead helps you grow your sales with real shopper keywords. We use machine learning to take the guesswork out of getting found on Etsy. So if you have an Etsy shop and you want your listings to be found first by shoppers, you want them to show up in the right places where shoppers have an opportunity to buy them, then you want Marmalead. You want the keywords we have, and you want the education and the community around Marmalead to help you get there. Now you can check out Marmalead at marmalead.com, and that is marmalead.com. See you there. So what are we talking about today?
Well, Richie, today we're talking about search and engagement and how they relate. On a basic level, the search meter shows you the number of searches a particular keyword or search phrase gets in a given month. And that's important information because if lots of people are searching for something, that's a good thing, right? And if hardly anyone is searching for it, you'd probably want to know that so that you could, work towards focusing on a keyword that's getting, a little more action.
Yeah, kind of like we just talked about in the What is Etsy SEO series. Everything starts with a search. It's got to start there. And if a search doesn't happen, that's really not going to lead to a sale down the road. So you kind of want to make sure the searches are happening.
Yeah, if people aren't searching for it, they're not asking about it. If they're not asking about it, they're not buying it, right? We're going to buy things we're interested in, things we're looking for. And that's your first line of, are people interested in what I'm selling or considering selling?
100%. So if that's search volume, what is the next piece?
Well, the next piece is engagement. So engagement is really, it's the next part. It's what is going on after that. After someone brings up this topic, what goes on from there? Does it die and fall flat, or are they going to keep the conversation going, essentially? So engagement looks at how many times listings that target a particular keyword are visited in a month. So it's a really important number because it shows you something beyond just search volume. It says, okay, they searched this, they got what they're looking for, and they've actually taken action. Because I don't know about you, but I've definitely tried to figure things. You see something, you're like, okay, what do you call that? And you search it, and you're like, nope, that's not at all what I was looking for. Try again. Nope, that's not it either, right? Sometimes it takes a couple of times to, try to figure out what are people calling this. And when I'm not seeing that's, what I meant to put in, I'm not engaging with it. So it's kind of okay, they're interested and, aha, yes, that's what they were calling it. That's what they're looking for.
Right. Or you do your search and, 10 things come back and you're like, well, that can't be right. I must have misspelled something or called it wrong, So you go ahead and do a different search for something else at that point. So there could be anything that makes you bail and come back and just run another search instead of going forward and clicking on listings.
Yeah, so a question that we get a lot in the inbox and in our Q&A sessions and things of that nature are that people understand the basic idea of search and engagement. What they are not understanding is how these two numbers are supposed to relate to each other or how they often do relate to each other. And it's actually a really good question. Actually, Marmalead right now is the only set of Etsy SEO tools that is capable of showing you that relationship between those two really important stats. That's not something that other tools are actually able to offer at this point. So we're really excited to be able to offer that edge to our customers. So we do want to go ahead and break that relationship down because it is important. And I'll just use a quick example. So let's say somebody goes to Etsy looking for a favorite keyword of ours around here, silver starfish necklace. Let's say they go to Etsy looking for a silver starfish necklace. So they're going to type that into search, right? They're going to type in the keyword silver starfish necklace, and that counts as a search, right? Like we just talked about. So then the results of that search are going to pop up on their screen, and let's say that they're seeing a lot of different options that they like, that they're interested in. So they click on one, right? And then let's say they click on another, and then they click on another, kind of shopping around for that perfect silver starfish necklace. In that example that I just gave you, that would mean that there were 3 instances of engagement for that one search, right? Because they did the search and then they clicked on 3, they visited 3 different listings. So that's what you want to see. What's really important to understand is at the very least, you want to see the same amount of engagement at the very least as the search number. But ideally, you want your engagement number to actually be higher than your search volume number, because that indicates that folks are seeing what they like, what makes sense, and they're going on to interact with multiple listings from the results of that search. Now, the flip side of that, if you're looking at an engagement number that's lower than your search volume, you kind of want to be careful there. That means that a decent number of folks who typed in that search did not go on to click on a single thing, right? So kind of like what Gordon and Richie were talking about a second ago. For whatever reason, they typed it in, they didn't see what was working, they abandoned that search and went back to start at square one. And that's generally speaking not what you want to see. You want to see that folks are interacting with those search results, because that means that they're closer to making a purchasing decision. So hopefully that helps explain that relationship a little bit more.
Yeah, I would add too that like if you're seeing that engagement is twice as much as searches, then that means the average person is clicking 2 listings after they do a search for something. So like Lisa's saying, you definitely want to shoot for an engagement that at least matches search, because then for the average person after they're doing a search is at least clicking one thing, and that's important. I think you're going to find that as you're doing your research, that typically words that are more generic, like jewelry and stuff like that, you're not going to have the engagement to support the searches there, right? More people are going to do a search for those generic keywords and then realize that they need to be more specific because they're seeing everything under the sun. Like, oh, I didn't want, wooden jewelry. I wanted gold jewelry. I wanted birthstone jewelry or whatever. So they end up bouncing and coming back and doing another search or filtering things down and not engaging straight with the search that they just did at that point.
So what would you say is the back to the basics bottom line here?
The back to the basics bottom line is that search volume tells you how many times a keyword or search phrase has been searched in a month. So how many times, that first ask comes up. And then engagement tells you how many times listings targeting that particular keyword have been visited in a month, meaning they found what they were looking for when they typed in that search, and then they're interested enough to click around. So remember, it's a good idea to seek out engagement numbers that are higher than search volume, because that tells you shoppers are interacting with multiple listings from their search results. And interaction leads to sales.